It's October. There's a welcome crispness to the air as the relentless heat of summer has finally released its grip on the sweaty butt cracks of sports fans everywhere. Playoff baseball has begun, but everyone at this card show is still a grumpy mess. I understand high numbers now. I have physically experienced them. High numbers are, of course, the result of smaller print runs at the end of the baseball season, when demand falls as a result of school, football, and other distractions. And yeah, can confirm. I stopped in at the October 2023 Tulsa Show, a relatively modest show of about 75 tables, only to find grumpy dealers gruffling about the lack of buyers, card buyers crowded around a few small screens watching college football, and much ballyhoo about the concurring Oklahoma State Fair. A perfect storm for this buyer, who, donning my trademark Philly shirt, was able to score some great pickups, but not without incident. We'll get to that. My first duty is always to pick up a new Bryce Harper for the kid, his main man as he calls him. So a couple of recent Topps Heritage cards and $1 later, my fatherly duties were complete, and I could tuck into some of the discount boxes to dig for treasure. The first 4 for $1 box was pre-sorted into teams, so in just a few minutes I was able to snag this Alec Boehm in-action rookie, a 2019 pink variation Cesar Hernandez numbered to 50, the 2023 National League Home Run Leaders card featuring Kyle Schwarber, and this 2022 Update Series Sapphire Refractor of Simone Muzziotti. He's been in the minors since 2016, only 18 years old when he inked a deal with the Phils. He's in AAA Lehigh Valley now. With all of the outfield talent on the current roster, it doesn't seem likely he makes the roster next year, but he's a decent trade chip, so we'll see where he ends up for 2024. A vintage bin coughed up these cards from 1952 Bowman. Tommy Brown, Connie Ryan, and Ken Heitzelman are in the 52 top set as well, with Brown and Heitzelman both high numbers, so not many collectors want the 52 Bowmans. I offered $5 for the trio, 2 for the Heitzelman, 2 for the Brown, and 1 for the Ryan, which is really beat up. I was expecting a counteroffer at 8 or even 10, which I likely would have paid, but the dealer quickly accepted at 5, happy to have made a sale at all. This was a theme all day. Dealers kept saying, "Ignore the prices, I'll work with you on anything." Nobody was desperate, but it was a buyer's market for sure. Additional perusal stopped me at a table of autographs, which included this autographed rookie of Bryson Stott. Now, I'm a tough old screw, and it takes a while for me to warm up to players. I wasn't a fan of Bryce Harper until the NLCS home run in 2022. When I felt like he finally lifted the team up on his shoulders and became the leader the team needed him to be. With rookies and young players, I don't speculate and don't sink dollars on their cards. But in the 2023 Wild Card Series, Bryson Stott did this.
And the pitch to Bryson. Fastball hit in the air, deep to right field. Going back is Sanchez. He's going to just watch it go! A grand slam for Bryson Stott! He has lifted the roof off the building!
That grand slam, which buried the Marlins, was a huge moment where Stott earned his pinstripes in my card album. Anyway, so I see Stott's rookie auto sitting there. I pick it up. I feign interest. The dealer was a young guy and was selling mostly football cards. We chat about the playoffs, and he says, "Come on, make me an offer." Knowing that Stott autos regularly go for about $80, I decided to offer 20, completely prepared to come up to as much as 50 if needed. That grand slam will be on highlight reels for all time, after all. To my great surprise, he quickly accepted at 20. The second such instance of a dealer quickly accepting my first offer. So welcome, Bryson Stott. You earned this spot in the center of the album, and I look forward to watching you win a batting title, and hopefully, a World Series too. With one autograph in tow, I sidled up to a box full of discount autos and relics. It was mostly minor leaguers, first Bowmans of guys who never made it, and the like. but I scored 3 gems. The first was this Topps Gallery rookie auto of Connor Brogdon. I think Brogdon got the shaft this year. He was a solid bullpen arm last year all the way through the World Series run, but he was sent down early in 2023. Just for his 2022 contributions alone, his autograph is welcome in that team set. But I think he makes the 2024 roster next year. The second pull was this signature card. It was in a box, remember, of all current players and minor leaguers. Do you recognize it? I saw it immediately. That's Adolfo Phillips. Phillips briefly played for the Phillies in 1966 and appeared in the 66 Topps set. He was dealt to the Cubs and later Expos. For $1, I'll slip this autograph next to his 66 card in the album. A curiosity for the future. The last autograph was both amazing and sad. A 2013 Topps Crowd Pleaser series, numbered at just $2.99, of Chooch himself, Carlos Ruiz. Chooch was the catcher for the 2008 World Series champions and was a huge cornerstone of that Phillies era. He's also my wife's favorite all-time player, so I was stoked to pick it up and to add it to the collection, but also bummed that players like Carlos Ruiz are so quickly forgotten and end up in the bargain bin. Welcome, Carlos. Enjoy your stay. If there's anything I can do to make your visit more enjoyable, don't hesitate to ask. Additional vintage pickups included this 55 Bowman Bob Miller, card 110, for $4, and for only $15, this 1954 Bowman, number 15, of Richie Ashburn. Both will go alongside their Topps counterparts. Also, I upgraded my 65 Topps Bobby Wine. After my last video about Cookie Rojas, I realized that the one I had was really beat, so it was time for an upgrade. Lastly, I finally found this 1969 Topps Rookie Stars card in decent shape, which featured Terry Harmon on it. Harmon played for the Phils for a solid decade and was part of 2 NL East championship teams, so I was happy to upgrade this card too. If you're curious, I keep all my old, beat-up cards in a box. They represent an earlier era of my collecting, and an earlier era of collecting in general, when everyone wasn't such a condition queen. That box is full of sentimental value, but not much else. Moving on, I stopped at a dealer table who had some nice vintage cards. A 52 Topps Robin Roberts caught my eye. I have one already, but there are 2 variations in the first series of 52, a blackback and a redback. I have a blackback, and eventually would like to pick up a redback as well. And I found one. He wanted $150 for it, and I told him I was at about $100. He hemmed and he hawed, and this was the first dealer to not immediately accept my first offer all day. Another guy was at the table too. They started talking about the Texas-Oklahoma game, which was in the 4th quarter and was on a small TV nearby with a crowd gathered round. The dealer looked to me. Okay, I'll do $100. I reached for my pocket to bring out a Franklin. Oklahoma threw an incomplete pass, and after a disgruntled groan from the crowd, the dealer said to the guy standing next to me, "That half-breed only has half an arm." Oof, not cool, my dude. He was talking about Sooners quarterback Dylan Gabriel. So calmly and plainly, I said, "He's Hawaiian and an American," as I put my money back in my pocket. I'll pass on the Roberts. Every deal needs integrity on both sides, and this deal was lacking. With a sour taste in my mouth, I was ready to leave the show, but like last time, my spirits were rescued. The same dealer who called out to me at the Bentonville show called out again. "Phillies guy, I've got one for you." The last time he said that, he pulled out a T205. This time, it was memorabilia I'd never seen before, a pair of 1934 diamond Phillies matchbook covers. Very neat. We chatted all about them as I didn't know anything about the set. Although I eventually passed on the purchase, wanting to do a little more research about this possible new arm of my collection, it was nice to have a dealer think of me, shake my hand, and not use a racial slur. My last pickup of the day was one of the first things I noticed when I arrived. There was a dealer with a big stack of ungraded 1933 and 1934 Gaudis. You almost never see these out of slabs these days, and yet, there they were. When I first arrived, I thumbed through them all, eyeing 2 cards, a 34 Gaudy Don Hurst and a 33 Chuck Klein. The Klein was priced at $75 and the Hurst at $25. Now I never want to blow my wad when I first walk into a show, so I noted the cards, thanked the dealer, and kept circulating. Chuck Klein is a Hall of Famer and one of the best hitters of all time. A career .320 hitter, he was the 1932 National League MVP, and he won the Triple Crown in '33. Don Hurst played with Klein and led the NL in RBIs in 1932 when Klein was MVP. That's a heck of a 1-2 punch in a lineup, and would make a nice 1-2 punch in my collection too. It was the end of the show for me, having been through the offerings, but still having the Franklin in my pocket that I didn't spend on the Roberts due to a little bit of latent racism. So I circled back. The dealer was very nice, knew a lot about the early cards, and as it turns out was a bit of a Phillies fan. So we fangirled over the Wild Card Series win. I showed him the Stott autograph I picked up. We watched a replay of the Grand Slam, which is always worth a replay.
Fastball hit in the air, deep to right field. Going back is Sanchez. He's going to just watch it go! A grand slam for Bryson Stott!
And I hand him the Klein and Hurst and say, "What do you think? Phillies discount?" He smiled and said, "Sure. How about $60 for the pair?" Even with the crease in the Chuck Klein, $60 is an excellent price for that card alone. Throw in the Hurst, and I'm a happy boy. I shook his hand and departed with a mutual, "Go Phils." As I sped through Cherokee Nation, cruising home in anticipation of Game 1 of the NLDS with the Braves, which they won, I looked at the small pile of cards on the seat next to me and was reminded that what they're worth is different from whether it's worth it. Thanks for watching. Be sure it's worth it on the card show floor. And see you next time for more baseball card stories, legends, and lore.